Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about track drive snowblowers. There are currently 6 different brands on the market that offer track drives. All of them are made in the USA, and let's figure out which one may be the best one for you. Alright, so let's get started.
Down in the dirt. Been real bad.
Okay, I'm going to go through and compare each feature of the machine, of the different machines, and so I'll be going back and forth. We'll talk about the front housing, the augers, the impellers, talk about the track drives, talk about the engines, talk about the chute control, we'll talk about the chutes, and we'll talk about the controls. First off, track drive snowblowers range in price from about $1,700 US all the way up to $4,700. I think $4,799. So we'll talk about how the inexpensive ones can work for you and how the most expensive ones can work for you. Let's talk about the different brands. Stanley Black & Decker, as you may be aware, bought MTD over the last 2 years. So this Troy-Bilt sitting here now is made by Stanley Black & Decker. They also make track drives in the Cadet brand. The machines are essentially the same with just different features to them. Cadet makes a 26-inch 2-stage track drive. Troy-Bilt makes this 28-inch 2-stage track drive. Cadet then has a 28-inch 3-stage and a 30-inch 3-stage. All of the machines that they currently offer are friction drive, so they have 2 speeds in reverse and 6 speeds forward. Moving on to Husqvarna. Husqvarna currently makes 3 track drive snowblowers. They make a 24-inch, and they make a 27 or 28-inch, I think it's 27, and they make this 30-inch model. The snowblower that you can't see is Honda. I've not been able to get a hold of a Honda to compare with the rest of these. They're just not available in my markets. Up in Wisconsin or down here in Iowa. So anyway, the Honda makes 3 track drive snowblowers: a 24-inch, a 28, and a 32-inch. They also make a 36-inch remote controlled snowblower, but that's now $9,900 US, so we're going to leave that out of this discussion. Toro makes 2 track drive snowblowers. They make the 28-inch Pro that you see here, and they also make a 32-inch Pro that you see here. By the way, the Husqvarna, the Toro, the Honda, and the Ariens all use a hydrostatic transmission. Ariens makes 6 different models of track drive. They make a 24-inch compact, which is a friction drive. They make a 28-inch Platinum Series, which is a friction drive. And then they make 4 models of Pro machines that are all hydrostatic. Let's talk about capacity. Capacity-wise, the Troy-Bilt here is a good homeowner machine. It uses a 12-inch impeller and 12-inch auger system. It does have open flight augers, so you do get a little aeration with this unit, so it throws snow very well. The Cadet 26-inch 2-stage is also set up just like this. The 28-inch and the 30-inch 3-stage are also 12-inch impeller machines, and they have that third stage in them to throw the snow back into the impeller faster. Husqvarna uses a 14-inch impeller and 14-inch front auger. Their unique feature on this is it has a cast iron impeller, which is supposed to help it throw snow well. The 24 and the 27-inch are also set up the same way. The Honda, they use a 12-inch front auger and 12-inch impeller. They're also an open flight design, so they grab the snow, aerate it, and throw it out very well. Toro uses a 14-inch impeller, 14-inch auger. The Toro uses a unique cupped impeller, which helps to throw the snow out, but also throws it into their anti-clog system, so that the snow always comes out of these machines. They don't clog. The Ariens Compact is a 10-inch impeller and a 10-inch auger. It is an open flight design also. The Ariens Compact is a good little homeowner machine, especially it costs right around $1,700, making it a pretty good value for a homeowner. The 28-inch and larger Ariens machines use a 14-inch impeller. The Platinum uses the SHO, super high output impeller. The Pros have their own impeller design, and they throw snow very well. The front auger is also an open flight design, so it aerates the snow real well. The Ariens also has the ability to get snow out of the snowblower if there's too much in it, throw it back out the front, so that you can keep your RPMs up and throw the snow a long ways. All right, now let's talk about the track drives. The Stanley Black & Decker units use a 3-point track drive. It is self-adjusting. There is a idler, spring-loaded idler in here that keeps the tension right on the machine. It also has a guide on the bottom to keep the track on the ground. The Stanley Black & Decker has a lot of track surface on the ground. So for the weight of the machine, these tend to be the lightest machines. You still get a lot of traction with them. Mechanically, these are a mechanical adjustment type track. You just use this lever to adjust where you want your bucket, and then you can also raise the back end of the track or push the back end of the track down to give you a dig-in mode or extra traction. So there is no float on these, so it's either flat about 3/4 of an inch or transport. I like the tracks, they work very well. It uses a trigger steer, so you turn the machine by pulling a trigger in the direction that you want to go. Husqvarna has a 2-point track drive. The 2-point track drive does not have any adjustments on it. You basically won't ever have any problems with the track stretching. It does have a little rest on the bottom for the track so that the entire track surface stays on the ground. The front drive is a little bit larger than the back one, where some of the old 2-points, some of the old 2-point or the Chinese made ones, the wheels are the same size. So you have a little extra speed out of this compared to the ones that you may be used to. The tracks are adjusted with a lever, and it's got a little strut that allows you to put it in whatever mode you want. It does not have a dig-in mode, but the machine is big and heavy, and you really don't need it with this machine. So you can adjust it pretty much anywhere you want. It's balanced really well, real easy to use. The Honda uses a similar track system to this. It's a 2-point drive, also powered by the hydrostatic transmission. Their adjustment is also infinite like this one. They use a mechanical strut with a lever to set the height. Let's move over on this side, a little more sunlight. The Toro is a 3-point drive system. The tracks are not self-adjusting, and there is really no adjustment to them. It's a fairly short track, so I don't expect them to expand any over the years. Again, this machine is very heavy. There's a good amount of track on the ground, and you'll have very good traction with this. Troy-Bilt uses a lever over by your right handle to adjust the height, and it's a mechanical lock. You have it down, you have a transport, and then you also have a dig-in mode where you have to lift up on the machine and it'll lock in. Trust me. It's a heavy machine, but it does lock into the dig-in mode where the back end of the track is pushed down further than the front, so you get your maximum traction. Ariens uses a 2-point system. The drive wheel is much larger than the back wheel on it. It is adjustable, so you can adjust the tension on the tracks if you need to. I don't expect these to stretch over time, so you probably never need to adjust them. They don't have a guide on the bottom to keep the track flat because it's nice and short. The Ariens system, which they call the RapidTrak, is different than the other 4 types. With the RapidTrak, you pull the trigger and now it's in regular mode. If you want to turn, all you do is pull your trigger, push down on your handles, and the back end of the machine comes up, or the back end of the tracks come up. So now it turns just like a regular wheeled auto-turn snowblower. They also have a lock-in or a dig-in mode where if you put the tracks down and then you raise up, the back end of the tracks will go down further and give you as much traction as you can get pushing the snow. The compact is a nice lightweight machine. The tracks really give it a good benefit for a small machine. These Pro units are all big heavy machines, so that they always have plenty of traction. You never run out of traction with these. The biggest models, the 32-inch Kraken and the 32-inch Mountaineer, have an electronic actuator to adjust your track instead of using the mechanical levers. It's a new little feature that they introduced, and it's kind of nice. In summary, every other brand except Ariens uses a trigger steer to do your steering. You pull a trigger on the handle to go in the direction that you want to go. Ariens does not have trigger steering. It uses the auto turn differential. All you do is grab the handles and turn it in the direction that you want to go, just like using a shopping cart. Which one is better? I can talk for hours on the different points of why one would be better than the other. The Stanley Black & Decker track drive has been around for a very long time. It just works. especially for the price of this machine here. It's a very good system. The Husqvarna in particular can have problems if you're working in deep snow, where you have a lot of snow that's running underneath the machine, like if you're trying to clear off a spot of lawn or something like that. But if you're working on hard pavement or gravel and stuff like that, the track drive is just fine. The Toro track drive, I probably put 10 hours on this track drive now, and I like the way it works in the snow. I did have one issue this summer. I was out washing it up, getting the dust off of it, and I went to turn on the lawn and it tried rolling one of the tracks off. Luckily I caught it before it popped off completely. It's a little bit more flexible track than what I'm used to. Now that I know that, next time I'm out on a lawn trying to turn it, I'll make for sure I pay attention to what my tracks are doing. That's the only issue I've had with any of the brands trying to roll a track, but it's really kind of a non-issue if you're aware of it. Never had any issues at all with the RapidTrak. I do like the large drive wheel on the RapidTrak because you get the speed of a wheeled snowblower. The other snowblowers tend to be a little bit slower, and some of them a lot slower than the wheeled machines. All right, what's next? Let's talk about the chutes. All of the track drive snowblowers use a metal chute except for the Troy-Bilt. The Troy-Bilt is still using the Stanley Black & Decker's long poly chute. I have no problems with the poly chute. It's pretty much indestructible. If you watch my walk around video of this machine, I beat on it with a 3-pound sledge and it held up well. I've never heard of anyone having a broken chute with this long extended chute. The only caveat that I have on the poly chute is it is a friction control system here. So you got to kind of adjust it to make it easy to use, but that it doesn't ride up on real heavy wet snow. If it does, just crank that thumb nut down about 1/8 of a turn and it'll stay put for you. All of the snowblowers use a quick chute, meaning just 2 rotations back and forth, or move a lever 90 degrees to get your back and forth movement. There are 4 models that have electric chute control now, and I'll talk about them when I get to them. The Cadet has the controls are the same as this poly chute, but they use a metal chute now. The new metal chute is just a little bit wider than the poly, so you get a little more snow output through it. Husqvarna has a interesting feature on it that you don't find on the rest of them. They have a rubber tip on the end of their deflector, and what that does for you is if you do a lot of light fluffy snow in the wind, this holds that snow so it doesn't blow back into your face. We don't have too much of that here in the US, that real light fluffy stuff, but over in Europe they do get quite a bit of it, so that helps a lot when you're doing it. This model, you got to push on a lever, and it's not, so it locks in place. All of these chutes stay in place when you put them in a certain position. The Husqvarna is a little bit smaller than most of the rest of them. It's about the same size as that poly chute. For the capacity of the machine, it's one of the things that keeps this snowblower from reaching its true capacity, but it's still a beast. This long, narrow chute does allow it to throw snow really far. Honda uses a metal chute. They also use an electronic lever up in the middle of the dash, like this one, that you use to move the deflector and to move the chute itself. It's the slowest of them all. I'm used to the fast chutes, but it works. It works well. They don't have the problems with them that we used to have with electric chutes where the motors get wet. It's been a good chute. Toro replaced their poly chute 2 years ago with metal. These new metal chutes are wider. Because the housing sits up higher, they're not as long a chute as some of the others, but they're still about the same height. So they get the snow out real well. Toro has a single joystick to control it all. Side to side, up and down. Toro is the only model that has the double jointed deflector. So you can run it straight up and then you can push it all the way down so that you can put the snow right alongside of the machine. That's a unique feature. I really like this chute. That's probably well, there's a lot of good things about this snowblower, but that's probably its very best feature. Can't get that on any other machine on the market right now besides the Pro model Toro wheeled snowblowers and the track drives. So I just love the fact that you can put your snow right alongside your sidewalk if you want to. Ariens has always used a metal chute. The chute is wide. It handles all the snow that the snowblower can put out. It's quick. And it locks into position. The deflector also locks. The Toro locks too, by the way. The deflector locks into position, gives you the full range, and you can get fairly close. If you do need to throw snow real close to you, like right alongside the machine, just angle it out towards the front instead of trying to put it right on the side. Just angle it out towards the front and kind of, it'll lay the snow in there for you. Not quite as convenient as the double chute, but it also works. Ariens also offers 3 models with electric chute control. Their new and it just came out this year. Their new electric chute control is fast. It's just as fast as using this. And it's a little thumb control right here by your right hand. They took their time putting that electric chute control on their machines, and it was well worth the wait if you like electric chute controls. All the motors and everything on the Ariens are up here in the top, so you don't have any problems with moisture and getting the gears wet or tearing the gears out because of moisture and ice. All right, now let's talk about capacity. The Ariens Compact, which is magically sitting right here, right? And the Cadet 2-stage 26-inch machine are the smallest of the group. Both the Ariens and the Cadet are very good machines if you live in areas that have 30 to 50 inches of snow. If you have a small driveway, they can handle snowplow drifts without any problems. The Ariens Compact is very good on heavy wet snow and slush. The Cub Cadet tends to struggle a little bit with the really wet stuff. The impeller design on the Cub Cadet and on this Troy-Bilt is such that it throws snow well, but it doesn't throw that heavy wet stuff. Many times when the snow is really wet, the snow will come out and it'll land here instead of throwing it 20 or 30 feet like it should. You get what you pay for along those lines. Next in capacity is the 28-inch Troy-Bilt. Again, this is a good homeowner machine. I don't have any problems recommending a machine like this for your residential driveways. You can probably do 150 foot of driveway with this if you get 30 to 60 inches of snow a year. One thing to talk about with capacity is if a snowblower cannot handle all the snow that you're trying to put into it, they typically will push snow in front of them, or you'll starting to see a pile build up in front. On a wheeled machine, the front end will also want to start to raise up on you. With these track drives, since they're locked into a certain position, you're just going to see the snow piling up in front of you. If you start to see that snow piling up, just go ahead and slow down a notch, a speed or two, or even stop and let it catch up. Doesn't mean the machine is bad at all, it just means you've reached its capacity. Some of these snowblowers here have unbelievable capacity. The Husqvarna is the same way. If you get more snow than what it can handle, it tends to pile the snow up in front. So you just take your hydro lever and pull it back just a little bit and let it catch up. So the Husqvarna, you can easily do 12 inches of snow at a time and clear it at a walking pace. The Honda I don't have any experience with on snow buildup. It doesn't have a way of getting the snow out of the machine back out the front like the Toro and the Ariens do. So I assume that if you're pushing too much snow, it will, or if you're trying to put too much snow through it, it'll also push in the front. Most of the time I see videos of the Honda, they're doing 18, 20 inches of snow, but they're just crawling along. And that's the way you should be doing it. Don't try to push your snowblower past its capacity. Next up is the Toro. We're talking about track drives here. So the Toro has a unique system on it. It's called a ACS, or anti-clog system. If there's too much snow getting into the machine, then what can come out the chute, there's a hump in here, and it allows the snow to offload the impeller and then fall back into the front of the machine. So you don't see that pile up of snow that you get with your other machines. Along the same lines, the Ariens machines, they very, very seldom will push snow in the front of them. You can run both the Toro and the Ariens, you can run snow as deep as what the bucket is, and they'll just keep on going. The Ariens offloads off to the left and then out the front. So again, both of these machines are designed to keep your impeller speed up, so they throw snow as far as possible. Last year, time flies when you're as old as I am. I was clearing about 4 inches of real, just plain slop. The snow was so wet that if you stomped your foot in it, it would splatter. With this Toro, and it was still throwing at 50 feet. So the Ariens is almost as good with the slush. I think it has a little bit more capacity for your normal snow. The Ariens with the larger drive wheels and stuff, you can do 10, 12 inches of snow just about as fast as you can walk with the Pro models. All right, I know you guys are going to argue with me about the Honda, but other than that, this is my opinion on how the capacity is on these snowblowers. As you know, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been paying a lot of attention to how well each one works. All right, let's move on to the engines. All the track drive snowblowers have electric start on the engines. Some are the plug-in 110 volt starters, and some are the 12 volt key start machines. I'll go through each one as we get to them. The Ariens Compact uses a 252cc engine, roughly 7 horse or so. We usually say 250 is 7 to 8 horse. The Troy-Bilt uses a 272. The Cadet 26-inch snowblower uses the 272 engine in it. Cadet's 3-stage machines use a 357 and a 420cc engines in them. All of them have plenty of power for their size. This Troy-Bilt with the 272 on it, for a homeowner machine, it has plenty of power. It's not going to struggle doing the deeper snow. Same way with the Ariens Compact. It's a smaller unit, so the 252cc engine is plenty strong for it. Moving on, the Cadet and Troy-Bilt use the standard controls on it. It does have a throttle, primer bulb, choke, and you turn it off by throwing your throttle all the way to the stop position. They do not have a fuel shutoff valve for the fuel tanks. The new EFI engines, which is on this Husqvarna, and Ariens has 2 of them, 2 or 3 of them, at least 2 of them. They don't have fuel shutoff valves anymore either. They also don't have choke controls, primer, bulbs. They do have a throttle, but on the Husqvarna, it's a step throttle. It is an idle, run, and then extra power. On the Ariens machines, they have a dial control to set your speed. The Husqvarna has 3 different engine sizes, and I can't remember what the sizes are for the 24 and the 27 inch. This 30 inch uses the 420cc LCT engine in it. The Pro models, the rest of the machines that we're going to talk about, also have big, huge engines on them. You'll never have run out of power with them, ever. I don't know what the actual horsepower is on them, but especially these EFI ones, the power is just, don't worry about ever slowing down with them. EFI is nice. All you have to do is turn it on, turn the start. This one sat all summer. Turned the key, fired right up. The Honda has 3 different sizes engines. Their engine CCs tends to be a little bit smaller than these other Pro models, but they also have plenty of power for the size of the machines, the 24, the 28, and the 32. The Hondas are also key start, so they have an onboard battery. They are not EFI engines. They just have the electric key start. Toro The two track machines, the 28 and 30 inch, both use the 420cc Toro engine on it. It's a conventional carbureted engine. They haven't come out with an EFI model yet. It has your speed control. It has a fuel shutoff valve and a primer bulb and a choke. These engines tend to be a little bit harder to pull than to start them. They don't have quite as much of a compression release as the LCT engines, but I can start it. I'm 70 years old. I don't need to plug it in, so just make for sure you put stabilizer in your fuel so your fuel doesn't go bad. They have a poly tank on them, and it has a spill section, so if you fill it up too far, the fuel runs off the engine instead of down into the engine, which can cause a fire. Very happy with this engine. It purrs like a kitten. And on this 28 inch, I was clearing snowplow drifts from the city snowplow, and it wasn't working hard at all. Barely come on the governor. We talked about the little Ariens compact. The Ariens Platinum series uses about a 10 horse engine on it. I can't remember the cc's. The Pro models, this RapidTrak here, and the newer, the Kraken and the Mountaineer, they all use the 420cc engine in them, the LCT AX 420. These engines again have a lot of power to them. They do have a metal fuel tank. They have a fuel shutoff valve, primer bulb, choke, and throttle. And the throttle on the Ariens is a little bit unique. There's the red knob here is your choke. Underneath it is the throttle. All of the current snowblower engines, you must use E10 or less alcohol content. Do not put E15 or E85 fuels in them. So I know some parts of the nation now you're going to have to pay attention because the first two or three bottom grades are all using E15 fuels. You'll have to pay for the premium fuel to get the E10. And there are still some areas that have non-ethanol fuels available, but here in Iowa, since it's the corn state, everything's got ethanol in it. 87 octane, that's all you really need. You can get, when you go into the higher or the lower ethanol blend fuels, you tend to get a little higher octane, so the E89 is fine too. Any questions on the engines? Just so you know, and the question's usually going to come up, the Cub Cadet MTD Stanley Black & Decker engines are made in China. This Toro engine is made by Lonson, which is also in China. The LCT engines on the Husqvarna and the Ariens are now made in Vietnam. The LCT moved out of China and moved to Vietnam about 2 years ago. As far as I know, the Honda engines are made in China. I keep hearing rumors that they're made other places, but I cannot get a straight answer on exactly where they're made. The last I know, they were made in China. All right, two more things. Quickly, I want to talk about the skid shoes. The Ariens and Toro both use a cast iron skid shoe on their Pro models. Ariens, the Compact and the Platinum, uses their homeowner steel shoes. All of the machines you can get a poly shoe for them. The Ariens and the Toro have a heavy duty poly shoe. Here's the Toro cast iron skid shoe on the Pro model. Husqvarna has a lightweight skid shoe. They don't make a cast, and I think you can get a poly for it. Yeah, you can get a poly for it. But these are going to wear out the fastest, but they're also the cheapest to replace. Cadet and Troy-Bilt both use this black poly shoe today. You can still get the cool blue skid shoes for them. These poly shoes wear well. Of course, they're all reversible. The cool blue skid shoe will last you about 10 times longer than these polys if you have a lot of sidewalk to do, just so you know. Honda has their skid shoes behind the housing, back in the back here. So you can get a side shoe for them, but they come with the back shoe. A little bit different setup. Okay, let's talk about controls. All the Ariens track drive snowblowers have the auto turn, so you don't have any triggers here on the bottom of your machine to steer the snowblower. You just move it in the direction you want to go. The handles are a little bit shorter than most of the other ones, but they're very comfortable. Once you put them in gear, you can hang on to them. They have plenty of spring to release, but they don't have a lot of tension on them, so you can hold them for hours and your hands won't cramp up. The Kraken and the Mountaineering also have electric joysticks here for the chute control and to raise the machine, raise the tracks up and down on the machines. The regular RapidTrak uses a lever here to release the tracks. All of the Platinum and the Pro and the Compact all use a 2-lever chute control. Pull back to turn this, and these are notched for the deflector. The Compact does not have heated hand grips. Toro, again, is a trigger steer, so you do have the triggers for using your steering. They have a plastic handle on them, whereas the Ariens is metal. This poly handle, you never have to worry about it breaking. They're also nice and wide and comfortable, so you can use this machine for hours at a time. The chute control on the Toro is their joystick, their quick stick. So you push down on this to turn, move up and down. It's really fast. Some people think it's too fast. I like it. I gotten used to it. Again, both of the machines have heated hand grips. This is your speed control. The speed control is the same on the Ariens for the Pro models. There's no notches in it because it's a hydro. You just put the lever where you want it to go. The adjustment lever for the tracks on the Toro is here. You push down on that and then move it, and it pops into the notches. The Honda, which I don't have here to show you, uses a trigger steer. It uses a lever for the hydro with no notches in it. It has a big joystick right in the middle of the dash for your electric chute control. Other than the fact that the chute control, in my opinion, is slow. Anyway. Oh, by the way, let's do one more thing here before I move on. Do you know why handles on a snowblower
are parallel to the ground?
Having the handles this way gives you the most leverage so that when you go to push down and turn, it doesn't put a lot of strain on your body. There have been some brands that have tried angling these down so you get a more natural grip, but it makes the machine much harder to push down and turn with. Everybody that's tried that has gotten rid of that down handles feature after a couple years because people just didn't like it. Also, there's a couple brands out there that have handles where you have to push down here, paddles. Those also tend to be much harder to turn, and having to hang on to those paddles tends to cramp up your hands quicker than this type of a system. So that's why you always have the handles parallel to the ground like this. Husqvarna's control console is looks complicated, but it has the same features. You have your handles up here. These are poly. Oh, they're also poly handle. I've never heard of anybody breaking one. This is your lever for adjusting the height. Trigger steers. The triggers are big underneath this one, so they're kind of easier to use than some of the ones with the real small triggers on them. Heated hand grips. There is an hour meter on the dash on these, and then these are your controls for your engine. Your deflector is up here. You got to push this handle, and it's a little more awkward than using the other ones, but it still works just fine. Also, your deflector is down here. It's friction control, so it doesn't have any notches in it. Again, this is a hydro model, so there's no notches in the speed control either. Cub Cadet does not have a hydro model on their track drives. All of them are friction drive, so all of them have the speed control lever here. It's a spring-loaded lever that wants to always move forward on it, so you have to pull it back to get it into your reverse gears. Something you get used to. One of the other things about a Stanley Black & Decker MTD Cub Cadet is the controls are opposite of the other machines. The other machines, this is the drive. On the other machines, this is your speed control. This is your impeller. On the MTDs, Stanley Black & Decker, it's just opposite. So this is your front auger, this is your speed. If you're used to these, fine. If you are switching from another brand over to here, it'll take you a little bit to get used to it, but not bad. The switch for the hand grips, if you have them, the hand grips are red on these machines. If they're heated, they're black. If they're not, the switch is up down here. Just a little rocker switch. And these work real well. The Husqvarna ones are the ones that are I don't want to use the term weakest. They don't get quite as hot as everybody else's, but they still work well enough if you have gloves on. These are metal, like the Ariens, so they don't break. Trigger steers, little plastic triggers, little poly triggers. They're not, I want to make for sure you understand that these don't break, but and they're really easy to pull. Chute control down here is just simple crank, works really simply. Chute deflector is up here. On the new metal chute ones, it is notched. So all of them have a spot to hold extra shear pins. On the Stanley Black & Decker ones, the shear pins are here. Lighting, I think that's it. Last thing to do is lighting. The Troy-Bilt still uses the halogen bulb. Everybody else today uses LEDs. The Cub Cadets have 4 LED lights up on the top. The Husqvarna has a nice bright LED right by the engine. Toro has a very bright LED on the engine. The new Ariens has an LED light up here on the dash, and the Mountaineering also has a light bar out front. The Kraken has a light bar out front, has a light up here on the chute, and it has a down light for your feet. Didn't think you needed a light in the back, huh? Well, it's it's pretty nice if you want to spend the money for the machine. So, all right, I think I've gone through all these machines. I'm not telling you which one is the best one. I'm going to let you decide which one is best for you. If you got any questions or you want any help figuring out which one is the best for you, feel free to leave your questions and comments in the comments section. Again, if you like this video, please like it. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Down in the dirt.